Indirect costs refer to all of the costs that a company has that are not directly associated with the creation and delivery of a product or service. So for example, if you have a company, a very successful company, it costs you money to create your product or to deliver your service. This might be a manufacturing cost. This might be the cost of engineers to deliver service. But there's also a whole category of costs that are very important that are indirect. For example, you have to sell your product or service. You have to have a sales force, or you have to have sales channels and sales partners. All of those costs associated with selling are in a different bucket than the direct costs. They're in the indirect bucket. HR costs. We have to have somebody who's managing, benefits in the HR organization. We might have to have a finance team. We have to have an IT team. We have to have executive leadership. We have to have regulatory requirements. We have to have lawyers. All of these things that I like to think about are generally what it costs to run the business versus direct costs are going to be what it costs to deliver the product or service. Now, often all of those indirect costs are kind of bucketed into three categories: selling, general, and administrative. So a very common term you might hear is SG&A. SG&A is just the acronym for selling, general, and administrative. Companies use different terminology. As a principle, it's all of the indirect costs. So it could be SG&A. It might be SG&E, I've seen, sales, general, and engineering. It might be overhead is a very common term. There's lots of different terms, but as a principle, direct costs are costs associated directly with creating your product or service. Indirect costs are costs that are associated with the running and growing and managing the business, but not directly associated with the delivering of your product or service.